Good evening, everyone. Thank you all for attending. I've been told that there's a football game, and I know there's a few people talking scores up to here, so we won't delay. We'll jump right in. As always, the video of this meeting is streamed live on YouTube and will also be available on Facebook and the Village website. At this time, Clerk Saladino is absent, so we're going to have Deputy Clerk Charity Jones act as our clerk and call us to order.
Trustee Augustine?
Here.
Trustee Gale?
Here.
Trustee McGee?
Here.
Trustee O'Brien?
Here.
Trustee Peterson?
Here.
Trustee Thompson?
Here.
President Kukler?
Here. And with that, we have a quorum. We have two exciting things on the agenda today, and that is to swear in both our new fire chief, Dan Rita, and police officer Maricel Ullman. With Dan Rita, he's joined by his wife, Julie, and their three children, Xander, Zach, and Zabian. And I believe we were able to convince Zabian and maybe his brothers to help him lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. So if so, can you come on up to that big podium there? Maybe maybe we can guilt your brothers into helping you. Who knows?
A pledge of allegiance to the flag and the United States of America and the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Zabian, don't go. Tell us where you go to school, Zabian, and what grade you are in.
I'm in second grade in St. Michael's School.
Oh, that's terrific. And well, tell your teachers you did a great job, and they should be very proud of how they taught you so well.
Thank you.
You're
I
welcome.
don't have teachers.
No teachers? Did you just teach yourself?
I have one teacher.
Okay, just teacher. Yeah, you understand. Singular. Tell your teacher she's doing a great job. Or they are doing a great job, I guess. Well, terrific. Thank you, Rita family. We appreciate that. And John, we shouldn't even have had you sit down because the first item under the president's report is the appointment of Dan Rita to the position of fire chief and for his formal oath of office. Mr. Rita has 28 years of experience in the fire service. He began his career in Tinley Park Fire Department, where he served as firefighter and later moved on to engineer, lieutenant, captain, and assistant chief prior to being named deputy chief. Mr. Rita has last served as deputy fire chief for the Tinley Park Fire Department and has also served for 4 years as fire chief of the Blue Island Fire Department. He has extensive background in fire service administration, and his experience includes planning and budgeting, coordinating training programs, and conducting next-generation recruitment efforts. Mr. Rita has served in the professional and community organizations, including Senior Advisor for MABUS Division 24, Secretary on the Executive Board of the MABUS 22 Chiefs Association, and a member of the Illinois Fire Chiefs Association. He holds certificates from the Office of Illinois State Fire Marshal, National Fire Academy, Intergovernmental Risk Management Association, and the Illinois Department of Public Health. Dan was identified as the top candidate after an interview process that concluded in late November. Given his experience and extensive qualifications, Dan is now recommended for appointment to the position of fire chief and presented for his oath of office. So with that, I'd ask for a motion to appoint Dan Rita as fire chief and a second.
No motion. Second.
Thank you, trustees. With that, a roll call vote, please.
Trustee Augustine?
Aye.
Trustee Gale?
Aye.
Trustee McGee?
Aye.
Trustee O'Brien?
Aye.
Trustee Peterson?
Aye.
Trustee Thompson?
Aye.
Motion passes.
And with that, it's passed unanimously. I think you're going to come up and be formally penned. Is that correct? Okay, and sworn in. Perfect. And again, we have Julie, the wife and mom, who's going to lead the honors.
Okay, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Dan Rita,
I, Dan Rita,
having been appointed to the office of Fire Chief
having been appointed to the office of Fire Chief
in the village of LaGrange in the county of Cook,
in the village of LaGrange, county of Cook,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I will faithfully discharge
the duties of the office of Fire Chief
the duties of the office of Fire Chief
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my abilities.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Chief Rita, thank you very much for your service. Congratulations on your appointment. Julie, Xander, Zach, and Zabian, we really appreciate you sharing your husband, your father with us. We're excited that he's going to lead our department. We're well recognized as being super professional and dedicated here in LaGrange, and we know that the chief is going to be a fine leader. We also know that having a father and a husband that's a first responder isn't always easy. You have concerns, you have worries, as well as missing birthdays, holidays, and things like that. So we appreciate your sacrifices, and we do truly welcome you to our community. So thank you. And continuing on with the good news, we have the oath of police officer, Marisol Allman, who is joined tonight by her wife, Melissa Coleman, and a lot of friends and family in the front row. So very exciting. On December 20th, 2023, the LaGrange Board of Fire and Police Commissioners approved the appointment of Marisol Allman to the position of probationary police officer to fill an existing vacancy. Marisol has an associate's degree in applied science from Robert Morris University and graduated from the Illinois State Police Academy in 2016. She has served most of her police career with the Metro Police Department in Chicago. Marisol will be starting the first phase of her field training this week, which includes working alongside a specially trained police officer. At this time, I would like to invite Marisol up to the dais and Melissa Cornfield so that Deputy Clerk Jones can administer the oath of office.
All right, please raise your right hand and repeat after me. I, Marisol Allman,
I, Marisol Allen,
having been appointed to the office of police officer
having been appointed to the office of police officer
in the village of LaGrange in the county of Cook,
in the village of LaGrange in the county of Cook,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and the Constitution of the State of Illinois,
and that I will faithfully discharge
and that I would faithfully discharge
the duties of the office of police officer
the duties of the office of police officer
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my abilities.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Officer Elman, thank you very much for choosing LaGrange. We know that when you were looking at lateral positions, you had a lot of opportunities, a lot of choices. We're glad that you picked LaGrange. We're very proud of our department, and we're excited that you're going to join us. To your wife, Melissa, and your family and friends, thank you for coming out tonight. Again, we understand how hard it is to have your spouse, your loved one, your brother, sister, child, serve as a first responder, as a police officer. A lot of sleepless nights, a lot of anxious times when you hear different stories on the radio and things like that. So we appreciate your sacrifice, and we know that the officer will end up missing some celebrations, some birthdays, some holidays, and we appreciate the sacrifice that all the family members give. So thank you for that. Welcome to the LaGrange family. We're excited to have Officer Allman joining us, and thank you. In that same spirit, congratulations to Officer Andrew Chimmers, who also began his position with the LaGrange Police Department last week. We know he's going to do a great job, and we're happy to recognize him whenever he can make a board meeting. So that's fantastic. It is 2024, so Happy New Year to everybody. I hope everyone enjoyed their holidays and had time to spend with friends, family, and loved ones. 2023 was a great year for the Village of LaGrange. We're excited and looking forward to 2024. We know that the board will be working hard to make sure that your tax dollars are spent as efficiently and as appropriately as absolutely possible. We welcome you, as always, to our village board meetings, and take all your concerns seriously. Since our holidays have passed, a holiday tree recycling today was the last day to put out the tree for people that live north of 47th. For those south of 47th, you have one more opportunity to recycle your holiday tree curbside. It should be put out with your garbage on Thursday, January 11th. There's no charge for the service, and a sticker is not required. But please remove all the lights, the ornaments, and do your best to recycle if possible. Today, school resumed for most elementary and high school students in LaGrange. As we all get settled back into our normal routines, we want to give a friendly reminder to motorists to watch for pedestrians and mind their speed throughout the village, but especially around our schools. Given driving conditions caused by winter weather, it's all the more important. Obviously, it gets dark real early still. So please, be as careful as possible. And hopefully, everyone will arrive to their destinations safely. Lastly, both on Christmas and New Year's, there was a Palestinian rolling protest or caravan that went down through LaGrange Road. It was a peaceful event. Our police officers did an absolutely wonderful job making sure that everybody was safe. The goal was to have the participants proceed through the village as safely as possible, and we were very successful in reaching that goal. So I do really want to appreciate and recognize our first responders. Again, these were holidays, and they were reporting to work and showing why it's so important that we're fully staffed on the holidays. So thank you very much to our first responders. Also, winter may be coming. It may be coming it's very, very soon. So I do want to thank the Public Works in advance of their efforts. I know that our streets will be plowed, our streets will be salted, and we will be enjoying the snow while our Public Works are working hard to make it safe. So thanks in advance. We'll see what's coming. But sooner or later, we will need you, and we appreciate your efforts. So, Director Colby, if you could let the staff know how appreciative we are, I'd appreciate it. And with that, I would ask if there's a village manager's report.
There is. Thank you, President Kukler, and good evening, everybody. First off, congratulations to Chief Rita and Officer Ailman on their new positions. We look forward to working with you and your success here at the village. As we venture into more typical winter conditions, particularly with the storm predicted for tonight and into the week, the village is sharing a few reminders regarding its snow and ice control efforts. During winter storms, Public Works crews work diligently to help keep streets, sidewalks, and parking lots clear of snow and ice and safe for travel. Efforts are focused on main roads first, with secondary roads and parking lots addressed afterward. To aid the hardworking individuals that are performing this work, please follow on-street parking restrictions when snowfall exceeds 2 or more inches. While driving, please be mindful of plows that are out on the roads and give them plenty of room to perform their work. Those that are able to are asked to consider assisting your LaGrange neighbors by clearing public sidewalks and clearing the snow around any nearby fire hydrants. Those interested in learning more about our snow and ice control efforts can do so by visiting our website. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, Village Manager Knight. Deputy Clerk Jones, I request that you read the items on the consent agenda followed by items under current business, and it is my understanding we're going to move item B off a consent agenda onto our regular business.
Okay. Items on the consent agenda will be considered by a single motion and vote because they have already been considered fully by the board at a previous meeting or have been determined to be of a routine nature. Any member of the Board of Trustees may request that an item be moved from the consent agenda to current business for separate consideration. Item A, an ordinance granting an amendment to design review permit number 119 for 31.5 South LaGrange Road. Item B, which will be moved to current business, an ordinance amending Ordinance O2334 and amending paid leave and benefits policy. Item C, minutes of the Village of LaGrange Board of Trustees regular meeting, Monday, December 11th, 2023. Item D, consolidated voucher 231225. Item E, consolidated voucher 240108. The current business, this agenda item includes consideration of matters being presented to the Board of Trustees for action. That will be item B, formerly on the consent agenda, an ordinance amending Ordinance O2334 and amending the village's paid leave and benefits policy.
Thank you, Deputy Clerk Jones. With that, I'd ask for a motion and a second on the consent agenda.
I move for approval of the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Thank you, trustees. And with that, I would ask if there's any comments, starting with Trustee Augustine.
Just as previously stated, I recuse myself from voting on any agenda items related to our village prosecutor.
Thank you, Trustee Augustine. Seeing no other comments, I would ask for a roll call vote, please. Oh, I'm sorry. We do need to have public comments. Thank you, Deputy Clerk Jones, keeping me on my toes here. At this time, it's time for the public to comment on any matters that are on tonight's agenda. If you have any, please come up. Seeing none, I would then ask if Deputy Clerk Jones would do a roll call vote.
Of course. Trustee Augustine.
Aye.
Trustee Gale.
Aye.
Trustee McGee. Trustee O'Brien.
Aye.
Trustee Peterson.
Aye.
Trustee Thompson.
Aye.
Thank you, and that passed unanimously. I appreciate that. Moving on to the consent agenda, the regular business, what was on the consent agenda B is now under current business, and it's an ordinance amending ordinance number 0-23-34 and amending paid leave and benefits policy. And before I ask for a motion on that, I would ask our attorney to just briefly explain where we're at with this.
Yep. So I know this was maybe a little confusing because this updated one that is sitting on the dais before you was circulated today. and replaces what's in the packet. So to take you back to December at your last meeting, you were presented an ordinance, and that was ordinance 023-34, which adopted by ordinance our current paid leave policies that are in our code and directing village staff to update the policies for temporary or I should say part-time workers. And it was done in accordance with the Illinois Paid Leave and All Workers Act, which was adopted earlier this year. The idea being that if you adopted an ordinance prior to January 1, 2024, that your policies could remain in effect until you subsequently amended them down the road versus coming into compliance with the state's new act. After our last meeting in December, Cook County, the only home rule county in the state, adopted their own ordinance that went into effect January 1 in Cook County. We presented you a ordinance that was in the agenda packet, and at the time, we drafted it to repeal what we did in December and replace it with this ordinance, with the idea being giving direction to staff to make sure that the policies in our manual are consistent with Cook County. Over the last few days, there's been some various debate, primarily academic debate, but legal debate nonetheless, about the effectiveness of the Cook County ordinance. And specifically, there is rumblings about legal challenges to that ordinance. And so we have recommended that we swap out what was on our agenda with what's here and changing really only a couple words of the ordinance. So instead of saying repealing what you did in December, this instead amends what you did in December. So being in compliance with Cook County, but at the same time preserving the ordinance that was on the books and adopted prior to January 1, particularly if somehow the Cook County ordinance were to be overturned, you will still met that requirement. So it's really a technical legal change just to preserve an argument. It is not substantively changing anything in terms of what your policies are, but that's why the last minute changes to the ordinance that's before you.
Thank you, Attorney Schuster. We appreciate that. And with that, I would entertain a motion and second to approve an ordinance amending ordinance number 0-23-34 and amending the paid leave and benefits policies.
So moved.
I'll second.
Thank you, trustees. And with that, any discussion? Seeing none, I would ask for a roll call vote.
Trustee Augustine?
Aye.
Trustee Gale?
Aye.
Trustee McGee? Trustee O'Brien?
Aye.
Trustee Peterson?
Aye.
Trustee Thompson?
Aye.
And that passes unanimously. Moving right along, at this time, I would ask if there's anyone in the audience who wishes to comment on matters not on tonight's agenda. Open mic. Seeing none, I would ask if there's any trustee comments. Trustee Augustine.
Thank you, President Kukler. I wrote this down. It's been something I've been kind of thinking about over the last few months specifically, so to try to keep it concise, get you all out of here. I wrote it down. As we wrap up this first meeting of 2024, I'd like to say that I sincerely hope that this board and the staff find a way to more routinely review important issues the ones that make it to the agenda, and certainly the ones that haven't yet, but could or should. Due to the wise rules dictated by the Open Meetings Act, we as a board can't discuss board matters with more than one board member at a time unless we are at a sanctioned meeting that has been properly noticed to the public. So our opportunities to review items as a group are for about 2 hours on the second and fourth Monday of every month. Tonight we had a very short agenda and possibly plenty of time to have a discussion, so perhaps in the future we can amend shorter meetings with a meeting of the whole or workshops or work sessions, town halls, things like that on matters that probably the board should be discussing in more detail. Many of us were hopeful that we'd have had a chance to discuss some of these issues at our October strategic planning meeting, but we were left only the last 59 minutes of the 8+ hours that we spent there to review those priorities. And it was understood that we'd need to find another time to do so, so that could have been tonight. And there are many, but of the items that some of us here tonight would like to see us looked at and potentially updated, and I won't go into any detail, but certain codes and processes by which residents and businesses work through this system. Can we improve the efficiency in a way that takes some of the burden off of staff and cuts down the time that it takes for certain things to be approved or denied? Discussion of green issues that, for example, our EQC Commission presents to us annually. We rarely discuss those. A discussion of some of our parking issues. We've got some new businesses coming into town that will continue to tax, so to speak, the supply that we already have. And I know we had a parking study recently to work on that, but we're gonna need more, and we have, some of us have discussed some alternatives to what we already have in place. And then just general communications. Many of our neighbors have Facebook pages. They're still pretty popular for posting, when is the garbage getting picked up around the holiday and things like that I think would be more efficient and helpful to many versus just the text alerts that a lot of folks I have found do not get. It would just be a great, easy, simple, understood way to disseminate the news that we talk about here at these meetings, but that a lot of people don't hear otherwise. We've talked about doing that, but we haven't put a timetable in place. We've also talked about discussing an alternative to our leaf program, and I was just wondering when we might have time to talk about that. Chickens, of course, insert laugh here, but it's something that a lot of folks would like to see us discuss. And then let's certainly, if we can, find a time to at least discuss, if not put on the agenda, revisiting the village's 60/40 rule as it applies to alcohol in restaurants. It's a sector that has served us very well, but is now seen by many as an antiquated and potentially as a deterrent to future restaurateurs. So these are just a few of the items. They certainly are not my pet projects, but these are items that many residents and businesses have asked and are anxious to see us here discuss. So I'm hopeful that we can find a way to talk about some of the things that we need to talk about in better length sometime this year. And that's what I'm really hopeful for in 2024. Thanks.
Thank you, Trustee Augustine. Any other trustee comments? Trustee Thompson.
Thank you, President Kukler. Yeah, just to piggyback a little bit on the 60/40, the rule and the reason we need to look at that. Excuse me. It was noted in the patch this week that the Opry is opening in Western Springs. The Opry is noted as a cocktail bar with a coffee shop, pastry shop, and has singing and musical acts. This is a business that currently could not exist in LaGrange, and it is going to bring large tax revenue to the village of Western Springs, and we're missing out on this. The thing I would hate to see is that Western Springs becomes a destination city for what entertainment that our new residents, those moving from the city, are looking to have. As we were elected, we had to sit down and talk about what we would do to help those citizens have more to do here. Also, as we look at funding and we look at how to fill up the vacancies in downtown, especially with the new ones coming from Chase, we do need to look at how we bring in more tax revenue and more revenue for the city, fill the businesses, as we do face a large capital infrastructure need that we need to fund without having to go to so many bond issues. So I just think, again, it's just another point that Western Springs has found a way to work with the liquor situation so they don't attract a lot of just taverns and bars, but are attracting upscale entertainment sections that we need to be able to bring into the village of LaGrange, or we're going to lose out on that. And we'll just be a place for dinner, not a place to have fun.
Thank you, Trustee Thompson. Any other trustee comments? Seeing none, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I move to adjourn.
And a second. Thank you, trustees. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And that passes unanimously. We are adjourned at 8:02.